Liverpool, 1957. In a city still scarred by the aftermath of war. Factories looming, smoke in the air, and restless youthful dreams. A rebellious 16-year-old named John Lennon decides to form a skiffle band with a few school friends. He calls it the Quarrymen. They're just teenagers with cheap guitars and blurry ambitions. But destiny is already in motion. One day, after a local performance, John meets a boy 1 year younger, Paul McCartney. Paul picks up a guitar, tunes it with near-obsessive precision, and plays with a confidence that leaves Lennon speechless. John, who is rarely impressed, invites him to join the band. Soon after, Paul brings in an even younger friend, George Harrison. He's only 14, but when his fingers glide across the fretboard, it becomes clear that talent has nothing to do with age. And George becomes the band's lead guitarist. What began as skiffle quickly starts to evolve. The group gradually abandons that sound, drawn instead to the raw energy of American rock and roll. They experiment with different names, until in 1960, alongside Lennon's close friend and bassist, Stuart Sutcliffe, they faced the defining question: what should they call themselves? Inspired by the Crickets, they begin playing with insect names. Sutcliffe suggests the Beatles. Lennon, always fond of wordplay, tweaks the spelling beat as in rhythm. And just like that, a name is born, one that would change history. That same year, they travel to Hamburg, Germany. They play for hours in gritty nightclubs under harsh conditions, managed informally by Alan Williams. Desperate for a drummer, they recruit Pete Best. Hamburg transforms them. They play until exhaustion. They learn how to command a stage. They become a real band. But the road is not easy. After a series of problems in Germany and broken contracts, the group returns to England. Sutcliffe chooses to remain in Germany to pursue painting, and in 1962, he tragically dies from a cerebral hemorrhage. Back in Liverpool, they begin performing regularly at the Cavern Club. There, they catch the attention of a sharp, ambitious young businessman, Brian Epstein. Epstein becomes more than their manager. He gives them image, discipline, suits. He believes in them when almost no one else does. Through him, they sign with EMI Records and meet the producer who will refine their sound, George Martin. Martin isn't convinced by Pete Best's drumming. Soon after, Best is replaced by Ringo Starr. And finally, the definitive lineup is complete: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. In 1963, they release Please Please Me. It is recorded in a single 10-hour session at Abbey Road Studios. The album reaches #1 in the UK, and something explodes: the Beatlemania. In 1964, they cross the Atlantic. Their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show is watched by over 70 million people. America falls at their feet. Airports are overwhelmed. Hotels are besieged. The screaming often drowns out the music. The world will never be the same. Amid relentless touring, they film A Hard Day's Night, a movie that captures their wit, chemistry, and charm. But the pace is exhausting. Albums like Beatles for Sale reveal the strain. In 1965 comes Help, accompanied by another film. On it appears Yesterday, featuring a string quartet. It's a turning point. They begin to experiment. That same year, they release Rubber Soul. Critics recognize it instantly. The Beatles are no longer just a pop band. They are evolving. But fame casts shadows. Controversies erupt. The Yesterday and Today Butcher cover, the incident in the Philippines, Lennon's comment that the band was more popular than Jesus. Backlash grows. So do internal tensions. In 1966, they release Revolver, one of the most innovative albums in history. Psychedelia, string arrangements, studio experimentation. That same year, at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, they perform their final concert. They decide to abandon touring and dedicate themselves entirely to the studio. The studio becomes their laboratory. In 1967, they release Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, a complete artistic concept, an iconic cover, sounds that seemed impossible with the technology of the time. They redefine what an album can be. That same year, they traveled to India to study transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. While there, devastating news arrives. Brian Epstein is dead. Without their guiding force, the band begins to drift. They release Magical Mystery Tour, and later the ambitious double album The Beatles, known as the White Album. It is brilliant and fractured. Each member seems to be moving in a different direction. Ringo briefly leaves the band. Lennon and McCartney's relationship deteriorates, and the constant presence of Yoko Ono intensifies the tension. In 1969, they attempt to return to their roots with the Get Back project, later documented in Let It Be. On January 30th, they perform on the rooftop of Apple Corps headquarters. Unknowingly, it is their final live performance. One last collective effort remains, Abbey Road. The image of the four crossing the street becomes eternal. Musically, it is a majestic farewell, but internally, everything is broken. In September 1969, Lennon privately announces he is leaving the band. In April 1970, McCartney makes the breakup public. Let It Be is released on May 8, 1970, marking the end of the band. 10 years. Just 10 years were enough to change music forever. The Beatles didn't just write songs. They transformed the idea of the album. They revolutionized music production, inspiring countless artists to pursue music. And so the inevitable question remains. If in barely a decade they changed the world, how long will the Beatles be remembered?